This is our copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. And it should be showing. There it is. And yeah, we're going to keep this intro silent as far as the audio on the intro. I'll keep talking here. Yeah, it's a late one, 10 o'clock on the West Coast. And yeah, we got some new reports to touch on. We'll get into that, as well as some other wildlife news. And as usual, we'll see where the stream goes. We'll see if anyone even jumps on in the chat. Notifications are out. Who's going to come hang out? Hope everyone has had a good day, good start to their week. Ending Tuesday here. Let's see who's in the chat. Juliana says, thank God I was getting bored as I'm doing chores still. Juliana's always doing chores. I don't think I'm going home tonight either. Uh-oh. What's up? Oh, forgot to activate the camera. There we are. All right, cool. You're activated already. I ain't gotta mess with you. What up, P&W Rush? Chiro Sounds, Dragonfly. What's going on, y'all? Setting off fireworks outside. We could set off fireworks actually in here too tonight. Yeah, should be like that. Well, yeah, thumbs up, but can we get our fireworks at least too? There we go. There's some going on. Some sparkles there. That was kind of weak. But yeah, it's going down. I don't know what the hell. It's a whole lot of fireworks. Too bad y'all can't hear. But anyway, sounds like we're going up to Oregon tonight. So yeah, some of the reports are going to be taking us to Oregon. Nicole, welcome. Hello. You know what? Wisconsin. Right on. We've read a couple reports out of there recently. Hope you're staying warm out there. See Dirty Filth, if you know SOR, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Filth's he's been sending some likes over on X. So cheers to Filth. It's been a while. I haven't hung out over on SOR in a long time. What's up, Bim Jim? I need some time off work. That's why I'm here. Right on. Yeah, time off work is good. Today was a weird one. It was busy. I almost got like a weird headache coming on. And that's maybe for other reasons. We won't get into that. But it's all good. We're live. We're live. uh yeah, we had no power at the shop for several hours. So I went live on my phone just to tap in and say what's up to everybody, letting you all know how my day was going. But soon after that stream, it wasn't like maybe an hour later. My brother had mentioned it was going to be 4 hours later that they were going to restore the power. And it was about an hour later. What's up, Ohio Grassman 420? Cheers to you. Yeah, we got the power back. I set up the studio. I was ready to go. I was going to go live because I mentioned that. I was like, if I get enough time and the power comes back, we'll go live from the shop. And I was ready to do that. But man, I got swamped. It was a busy day. It was good. Good for business. But yeah, a little odd since the power wasn't on for the first few hours. So it was really quiet. Usually I have the TV on, some music, vibes going, you know? Yeah, could be that too. But actually I've been been kind of detoxing. So it could be like what people call the die off or whatever sometimes. I'm thinking it's that. I'm making sure I'm well hydrated. Hope you made it back home well and all in one piece, Blazer. I know you were out in my neck of the woods for a bit. Or should we be keeping that low key? You let me know. Good to have you in here. And yeah, let's see. Let's get into it. Let's get right to it. Why not? So we're gonna check out the Bigfoot Mapping Project. And since yesterday there wasn't anything, uh, but today I checked up on it, and sure enough, we got a couple new green dots. Actually, there was one that stood out. You could see on the west coast there, and I was like, "All right." I was already gauging it. I was like, "Where is that? Washington or is that Oregon? Where do you think?" And so just got off city council. Oh man. Yeah, did they televise that one? I do subscribe to the YouTube channel, so I don't always watch them, but I get the notifications. And so yeah, it's looking like Oregon there. And then over, I want to say it might be Minnesota. What state is that up there? So later in the day, I noticed they added a second green dot. So I was like, cool, another fresh report. And I was anxious to read them for y'all. So we'll get into this. Let's see, y'all hang out in the chat. Just checking in right quick, Blazer. It is, yeah, I know how I put it on blast. Hopefully, I've been in trouble for that. What's up, girl? How you doing, bro? All right, let's head on over to Oregon. I love it up there. And let's see, I don't think we have any Oregonians in the chat yet. I don't know what PNW reps. I guess he's Washington, but he's all up and down the West Coast. So maybe he could rep Oregon too. Maybe he has a place in Oregon. So the county is Marion County. So it's northern Oregon there. Nearest big town is Salem. I've never been to Salem, Oregon. Anybody in the chat or anyone listening to this later, let us know if you've had some squatchy experiences up in this area. Anywhere we're interested, but since we're touching on Marion County, Oregon, it'd be interesting to hear or see if there's any other reports. And there is. We'll get into these other databases in a moment, but yeah, we want to hear from y'all out there. You know what? I could also throw up a link in the chat in case anyone's interested in jumping on. We've been offering the opportunity lately. Some of you have attempted and we were having some issues, but I think we might have cleared up some of those issues. So it'd be cool to give that a shot and see if that is so. So this is a bit of a throwback. So recently submitted report, but the date on it is from 01, 4/27/01, 9 p.m. And they say it's 7-footer. To check to see what it says here. It says, I was 12 years old, solo camping on my dad's property in the woods. That must have been hella fun. That's what you do up in Oregon when you're young, right? Or when you live out in the country. Mm. So it says, my brother and I were raised very familiar with bushcraft and how to be outdoorsmen. Awesome. Back then, it was still pretty wild around there and hadn't been built up or developed. I had settled in and fallen asleep when I woke up in the middle of the night to sounds that reminded me of the Blair Witch Project. Oh, yikes. Sticks breaking, thuds, and objects being thrown down at the edge of the orchard near the tree line. I thought it was my dad and older brother playing a joke on me. I called out, very funny. Gotta throw in one of these with that. Mhm. and the forest went completely silent. It was very strange not to hear anything at all. I listened for a bit longer and eventually fell back asleep. Ooh. A short time later, I woke up to what sounded like grunts and heavy breathing outside my tent, probably about 20 yards away. Yikes. Again, thinking it was a member of my family playing a joke on me, I got to my knees and peered out of the tent window through a slit in the rainfly. It says, did you see any young Bigfoot? Nope, no footprints. Wood knocks. Yes. All right. So we're probably going to describe that uh, in this next additional comment here. So it says, that's when I saw a dark figure that was nearly the height of the roof line of the house. I froze. We've heard that before. The freezing, which I think is fear, right? Fear of freeze you. Oh, yeah. I've experienced it. I told myself I was dreaming. Yeah, that's interesting too. You know, there's been those moments. I've had a moment where it's like, dude, am I dreaming? Or it felt like or if I was dreaming, it felt really real. I think it was real. I held my breath and closed my eyes. When I opened them again, it was still there, standing still. Oof. I was too far from the house to make a run for the door, and I only had my bush knife with me. I slowly laid back down and tried to control my breathing. The creature then came closer to the tent, circling it and sniffing. Mm, I wonder if you could smell it. I'm rather tall, so I had angled myself diagonally in the two-man tent with my head and feet in opposite corners. At one point, I touched the tent, depressing the fabric just inches from my face. I was so terrified that I was afraid to breathe. When I did breathe, it smelled like a boy's locker room, musky and unpleasant. Oof. The encounter likely lasted around 20 minutes, but it felt like an eternity. Eventually, I heard it move back toward the tree line. We got some additional comments. Ooh, yeah, it's quite a bit here. This is exciting. This sounds legit to me. It feels legit to me as well. What do y'all think? It started throwing objects again, and then there was silence. I lay awake in my tent until daybreak. I tried to check the entrance of my tent, but my view was partially obscured by the rainfly. I knew my older brother slept with his window open. Still too terrified to leave my tent, I started screaming for him. Oh, yeah. That's another good option. You know, I thought about that when that light appeared in the back, or near my tent, wherever it was, in the back or the front. I think it was the front of the tent. I was like, man, if my tent starts being pulled, I'm gonna scream. And I had my the panic button ready to go on the alarm of my truck. So, still too terrified to leave the tent, I started screaming for him. He eventually heard me and came outside. When I asked if he saw anyone around the perimeter of my tent, he said no. At that moment, I unzipped the tent and booked it to the house. Woo. Full speed. Turbo. I told my brother what happened, and he woke up our dad. My dad thought I was dreaming and brushed it off. Oh, come on, Pops. Later that day, he told me that I had to go break down the tent and bring it back to the house. I was an absolute mess, crying and terrified to go back into the woods. My brother reluctantly went with me. As I was breaking down the tent and getting ready to roll it up, haha, I found a rock placed underneath it, directly under the spot where the tent had been pressed near my face. Around the tent, I also found a few hairs that were 3 to 4 inches long and reddish brown in color. I told my dad about it, or about all of this, but it was brushed off as imagination. It took me months to enter the woods again, and never alone. As I got older, I slowly began going back into the woods by myself. It says, I came to feel that the rock was a gift, huh, since it had been placed near my head instead of thrown. After that, I would leave rocks in the woods in hopes that they would find them. I'm 37 now. I've told very few people about this event because I'm usually met with eye rolls. This past year, I brought it up to my dad again. He still lives on the property, and he told me he believed me back then, but didn't want to scare me. Ooh. To this day, I still believe that I saw and encountered Sasquatch that night. Wow. That was pretty good. And it says color dark, likely dark brown. Oh, yeah. Oregon. That is very near Salem there. Let's see. Almsville to the right. Turner. We'll zoom in even closer. Could pull up on Pop's property there. Twin Oaks Cemetery. That's interesting. Got a cemetery nearby. We've heard of and a pretty big. I mean, look at that town. Looks like town over here on the left. Elementary school there, Turner. Mill Creek Road down here, and yeah, pretty looks pretty wooded there. Right across from the cemetery, and let's see this. Is that Witzel Road? There's Glenwild. Or what is that? Glenwood? Glenwild, yeah. I like that. So yeah, very, very interesting there. Let's pop back out here and let's drop the man over to the next report here. I mentioned about doing South American reports, but we might not do that tonight as the US might keep us pretty busy here. So yeah, it looks like Minnesota. And welcome to anyone popping in here. You know what I didn't do is put myself on the monitor here so I could check out the chat. Here we go. Boom. I see Sharon. What up, Diesel? Got Diesel in New Jersey. Rid Shot. Wagwan. Donnie Cho. That's a surprise. What up, Russell? Yeah, we're reading some reports here. Hopefully, y'all are just staying warm, staying safe, staying out of trouble as we head into Minnesota. And that brings up the Minnesota Iceman, right? Y'all know about that case? The weird looking Bigfoot like covering his face. There's a whole backstory when you get into that. And last I heard, some of the information on it was that, yeah, it wasn't a real, it was a hoax. And I forget who the characters are, but there's this whole, like I said, a backstory, different characters. I'm sure there was money involved, obviously, some fake bodies, possibly. Uh, International transportation as well. I believe that Minnesota Iceman may have came from was it from Canada? Was there some sort of crossing of borders there? And I think it originally also may have come from like somewhere else, maybe like Russia. I forget what the story. I got to get the Minnesota Iceman story straight, but I know it's all over the place. That's why I'm kind of confused with it. But yeah, let's get into this. Let's drop the man here and see where we're at in Minnesota. What we have here. So we got a lake right above here. I like to focus on any nearby bodies of water. 10-mile lake. And then of course there's a Crystal Lake. There's always a Crystal Lake somewhere, right? You think Jason Voorhees, there's a Birch Lake there. I think Jason Voorhees is connected to all of them. All right, what does it say here? Date and time of sighting, 10/8/06. So we're getting a couple throwbacks here, and this was at noon. Lunchtime. No height, no sex. Sorry, Donnie. Vocalizations either. None. And it says here in 2006, I had extremely loud exhaust on my lifted mud truck from coming out of high school. He was one of those dudes. He was that guy. I was 19 years old driving through deep woods slower than 20 miles per hour while watching the floor of the woods, trying to spot grouse sunbathing or eating gravel off the trail, in which I would stop short or drive completely past grouse as to not scare it out of hiding spot. Hop out, load gun, and walk down trail 40 feet while continuing to ambush grouse on foot with 12 gauge shotgun. I drove through some extremely rough trails with super deep ruts and mud pond holes to get where I was at this point. A place your average adult wouldn't consider traveling on. I made it past the 100-yard section of muddy terrain, no problem. The trail, however, hit a dead end half mile ahead in a small natural clearing. I had turned my truck around as was driving a bit faster now, about 3/4 of the way back out to more regular trail the second I hit brakes to slow down for Buddy's section. And over here, I don't see any wood knocks, no footprints, no babies. And we're going to be reading this for a little bit, so hang tight, y'all. We'll do our best here. When it let's see. When it happened, I spoke out loud. That was weird. So I think that's, yeah, okay. Even though I was alone, my truck had momentum and I was about to hit some serious mud obstacles in the road. I stomped the gas, which made my loud exhaust screamed. I tore out of there feeling like my life was in danger. So I don't know, what the hell happened? Did he fishtail or something? I'm kind of confused. A little hard reading this. I felt like I was going to be short or something, or shot or something. Don't get short. I didn't know where this gut fear came from, but everything inside of me said, make a run for it. So he got the feeling, he got the vibes real bad. The trails wind through the woods, so I felt like at every turn or bend, I was going to get cut off or caught up to when I was leaving the woods. Nothing more happened to me, but I know this was a message. By whom, what, I ask. I don't know. I didn't feel safe till I was going 55 miles an hour on the blacktop again. I keep telling myself a hunter was warning me to stay out. But what if a hunter would go off, hit my truck with a boulder, I probably would have had to investigate myself immediately with 12 gauge and found a device capable of launching a rock. Not knowing the true nature of my danger situation, I know how people get very territorial when it comes to deer hunting. These are not my normal hunting grounds for big game. I cannot unsee a boulder nearly missing the hood of my truck and snapping dozens of white saplings in its path. What is it? Hold up. Perpendicular. I had to break that one down. Perpendicular to the passenger side of the truck. I took it as a warning and left immediately. If you feel unwelcome in the woods, it probably means that you already are. That you already are. Okay, here goes a little more. When I hit my brakes, a rock the size of a volleyball or kickball came flatlining, flying through the air, left to right across the trail. It passed over my hood about the height of my rear view mirror. After it crossed the trail, it started to hit sapling trees, which didn't seem to slow it down at much. The rock went straight through about 20 little 1 inch to 2 inch white. Little tree broke off clean. I could only see 10 yards into the woods on left side of trail. Then it turned too thick brush you can't see through. I did not see what projected the rock, nor was I going to stick around to find out. This seemed like a warning to me, and it was timed like someone was there. Not sure where the warning came from, but I sold that loud truck and never took it in the deep woods again. All right. So this dude got a boulder or something like that hurled at him. So it finally made sense to me. And I see why he got the hell out of there like that. Mm. Yeah. A lot of reports of the rock throwing. Anyone in the chat, let us know if you've ever got some rocks chucked at you. And that's Minnesota for you. All right. Was it Bigfoot? Yeah, it sounds like Bigfoot activity to me. And let's pop in the chat. Let's see. Is that who is that? Oh, I see Fractal. What up, Fractal? George. And there's Brother Nighthawk. Salute to you. Welcome on in. Yeah, a couple new reports there off the Bigfoot Mapping Project. And we're going to hop over to the BFRO. There hasn't been anything new here, but we have caught up to all the recent added reports. So check out the previous streams if you haven't, or if you're liking the content. Yeah, we're doing our best to read, straining my eyes a little bit. But let's go sightings by region. So let's head back over to Oregon and see what the BFRO says here as far as that county. Boom, there we are. And so if you ever want to check out your county and see if there's any reports, you could check these websites out. This is now the BFRO. There's Marion County with 10 submitted reports. It's quite a bit. And we could read, we'll just read these titles really quick. And so we get an idea, and then we'll hop over to another site and read some of those titles there. And maybe if we find one of these titles really intriguing, then maybe we'll dip in there and read to it. But I know some of you are probably falling asleep. Yeah, Mother Dwarf with the bedtime Bigfoot stories. November 2000. So this is another 2006, right? So wait, hold up. The last report was 2006 or was it 2001? I think the 2001 one was the Oregon report. So it's a class B. It says a couple south of Aurora hears repeated screams, encounter with dog. And then we have June 2005. Interesting. The year before that, also a class B, bicyclist hears vocalization and wood knocks. Yeah, and sees tree shaking. Yeah, that's interesting. I've heard that quite a bit, and I have a video clip when I was checking out one of my spots in the redwoods, and there's a teepee structure, small teepee structure there. It's been there a long time, and on one of the visits, I was getting vibes from this certain area, a lot of trees, a lot of green cover there. And I noticed there wasn't any heavy wind blowing, but one of the trees in the background, you could see it starting to sway and got harder and harder. Like it was shaking after a minute. And the video's been posted. I shared it recently on on TikTok, but I haven't been posting there since all the changes recently. Y'all know they've been making some major changes over there. So heads up if you're a TikToker. Um, Yeah, it was interesting. Got the vibes and then that started happening. And I do believe I seen that on the spot too. And there's other things that have happened in that particular area, very close to town too. But you're in a redwood grove, and very interesting to hear more of that tree shaking type of activity. So June 2003, this is a class A fisherman has close sighting on Brayton River. July 2002, vocalizations heard by campers in Taylor Park. It seems like almost every year they're getting activity up in this area. There's a little gap there, 95 to 99, but and then 99 to 2001, but it seems like almost every year some sort of reports coming out of there. Witnesses heard what they described as a roaring scream. Oh. October 1995, Class A brief daylight sighting by hunter near Silver Creek Falls State Park. July 1980. Whoa. Two men find rock piles nest at Abiqua River. That's interesting. I'd like to hear more about that. The nests. Summer 1977, college students. So this is a class B. So was the last one. College students get approached by, oh yeah, by Sasquatch and ask them if they got an extra doobie. No, hold on. College students get approached by Sasquatch and shoot at it. Oh no, guys. Bad idea. He was just going to ask for some papers, bro. I guess they must have been frightened. Let's see. Summerist mid 70s or mid 70. Class A family encounters upright creature while camping at. So there's Silver Falls again. I put that in the notes. Silver Falls. Where's Bigfoot Fades? Hopefully she checks this out later. What's up, Joanne? Jumping back over in the chat, Georgian and Smoochy. Smoochy, 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 Smoochy. What's up, Smoochy? Yeah, Bigfoot Air Jordan says, Brother Nighthawk. So yeah, we did get another. Let's see, Silver Falls. Where did we see that? Didn't we just see that up here? Oh, this is Silver Creek Falls. So maybe the same place. Silver Falls, Silver Creek Falls. Anyone? Two different places, same place. I got this little magnetic clip now for my notes. Yeah, I could still use the big giant pencil for it. But now I could see and keep notes there if need be. There's no notes at the moment, but hey, it's all good. Can we set some more fireworks off for y'all? Let's see. Not sure they're popping off. All right. So this last one, the 70s. So class a teenage girl, witnesses a female Bigfoot. Wow. Steal meat from a cooler. I've heard that before. Getting in Pop's hunting supply, hunting stash. Watch out. Yeah, that could be a problem. Yeah, not the first time I hear that. Bigfoot raiding smokers, coolers, freezers, fridges, dumpsters, your stash. Wow. It's incredible. These creatures. All right. So if we hop over to, let's see, Bigfoot Society and Jeremiah tonight. Big up to Jeremiah. You know, I'm always giving y'all props, especially if you deserve it. Excuse me. Sorry, Mike. And I'm missing the chat. I see the chat's chopping it up. Um, he's been going live over on TikTok. So if y'all, be TikToking, be sure to check out Bigfoot Society over there. He's been doing live call-ins, people calling with the report. So it's funny. Shout out to Ma Dukes. Yeah, Mom's be sending me TikToks and different things. So she sent me Jeremiah Bigfoot Society's live on TikTok. I was like, "Oh, Mom, I know that's the homie right there, Jeremiah." I was like, "Thanks, Mom." And so I got the listening, and right away, and then thank you, Jeremiah, for making me a moderator over there as well. I don't know how to swing the tool there yet too well, but I'll figure it out. There was this lady, and I guess she was, I'm guessing, from Montana, and the Eureka. Is there a Eureka, Montana blazer? It was a really, really good encounter she was sharing. She actually mentioned that she called a Bobo up to her place, and they were having all sorts of activity, and Bobo got in the mix, and they're experiencing all types of stuff, and it was wild. So I think, I don't know if he got permission on that one, because he usually asks the guest permission to repost it over on his podcast. But I think he didn't really seal that one, but I'm sure the lady, they got their links, so they'll be in contact. But yeah, it was good to hear Bobo was up in the mix. Shout out to Bobo, the homie Bobo. Where you at, Bobes? Uh and it was just, yeah, it was off the hook. And he's been doing a great job over there getting live encounters, live call-ins. We'll see if someone clicks the link here in a bit, but let's drop the man around that area as well. Let's see, where's Salem at? Oh, here we go. So there is a couple of report. There's one in Salem, it looks like here. One in the outskirts. And here's that Silver Falls State Park again. Notes to take. I think so. Something going on in that Silver Falls at State Park and Silver Creek, I think. So here we go. It says Silver Falls State Park, Oregon. Witness states while staying at YMCA camp in 1979. Here we go again. Rocks were thrown at cabin. We have the what is it? The Ape Canyon incident going down here. Rocks were thrown at cabin before he visually observed a large Bigfoot step over the rhododendron bush and retreat into forest. Wow. 1979. Episode 714. For anyone interested, Bigfoot Society, peep it. And yeah, let's click over on this one closer to Salem, see what that's all about. It says Willamette Valley. And I've heard a whole lot about the Willamette Valley. Yep, not surprising. I think uh yeah, there's a whole lot happening there with the Willamette River. Um been told about that area. Let's see. And we got some friends up that way too. Who is I forget who it was. I haven't seen them in a bit, but they're right in that Willamette Valley there. Witness states he experienced multiple encounters with a tall, inhuman figure near his home in the Willamette Valley, including a moment where something ran alongside his truck at high speed. Ugh, that's scary. Date not specified, episode 945. That's right.
945.
Over at Bigfoot Society. And let's see what the heck Bigfoot was doing in Salem. He's like, yeah, I'm in town. And look, just by that little bit of just those buildings there, I can see there's some old world action, some old world buildings up in Salem. And I bet you they're probably in Salem, Massachusetts as well. Massachusetts. Where's the other Salem? It's Massachusetts, right? So this is way hell of a throwback. Date 1920s. Talk about old world. So Bigfoot report from the last reset. Location near Salem, Oregon. Encounter type visual and odor. Here we go with the funk again. Description: children detected a oh wow. Detected a strong foul odor and observed the Sasquatch across a river watching them from a distance. Yeah, that's what they say is that these Bigfoots, maybe it was a young one. Because I think the young ones would like to stare at the kids also. But I hear that the bigger ones do too, you know? And yeah, I've heard of them staring into like playgrounds or which is interesting. You know what just pops into mind? The whole alien and those school landings and stuff. If those cases are true, yeah, what is it? It's like these beings. Well, I would trust the kids more than the adults anyway, too, right? You're trying to like communicate. Hmm. Yeah, I think they're fascinated by the kids for sure. Makes you wonder about kids that go missing too. Definitely comes to mind. So there's a few other reports from that general area. And hold up, we ain't out of Marion yet, folks. Hopefully you get to hang out. What up? We got sops.
Wild man to the office, please.
Yep. We have the master in the casa. Yes. The I think we have another one. Not so I think we got a drier sounding one, but anyway, wild man, I'm so glad you're here, brother. Sometimes I wonder, I'm like, man, does wild man check out the lives? Cause all right, police pursuing a man on scooter, I'm gonna say. And there was also a citizen report. That was the Citizens app. Yeah, it's probably those little mopeds you see everyone, not everyone, but you see the little gangs of them here in LA. They'll drive by the shop too sometimes, like 50 deep. It's crazy. Uh Let's pop out of here right quick. But it's not over yet. We're gonna hop on over to Bigfoot Encounters website. But I did want to read a Citizens app report that I got a little earlier. You know, anything having to do with wildlife, mount, just outdoors. You know, anywhere Bigfoot could be, and even though it's not related to Bigfoot, we'll bring that news. We're gonna get into wildlife a little later after this. So stay tuned if you like wildlife. Yeah, we're gonna watch the video of that mountain lion running around San Francisco. Yes. And then the coyote that swam from, yeah, we're staying in Frisco with the wildness. You know, it gets wild up there. I wonder if the cat ran around the Tenderloin. Um, and then the coyote that swam to Alcatraz. Yeah, I want to check that out. We brought up the article, but we didn't see the actual video. We need the receipts. We like to see videos and evidence of stuff here. So hopefully y'all get to hang out. And if not, people later. Hopefully, we don't get kicked off the stream here. I did see I do have to renew my subscription here to Riverside, and I've been debating. I'm like, do I stick with Riverside? I'm sure as hell not paying that. I accidentally paid for the whole subscription at once. I was a kick in the you know where, or a punch, you know where. I was like, damn, I'm not trying to pay that much at once. Oh, that hurt. But we did it. And here we are a year later. I can't believe a whole year went by already. Guess we've been streaming for about a year now, and I still suck. It's all good. It's where the shut up. So there was a report earlier. I seen that it was a hiker stuck up in the hills here. I think the Hollywood Hills. I don't see it anymore. Anyway, I'll try to get an update on that. Hopefully they're doing okay. All right, Bigfoot Encounters website. Let's hop on over here right quick. Y'all roll them up in the chat, hotbox it, and we're gonna go over to sightings here. So you could go state by state over here, y'all. If you're interested in checking out some older reports, as this website is no longer being updated and stuff. So, and let's head on over to Oregon right quick. We're gonna head on down to, yep, I do see a couple over in Marion County. So I see July 1996. Hopefully this ain't too long. Let's see. All right, not too bad. Marion County, and it says Sublimity, Oregon. July 1996, 5:30 p.m. near Beaver Creek and Carter Road. From a distance of 200 yard atop a neighboring grass field, my brothers and I saw a reddish haired creature, and we heard that earlier out of Marion County, right? That '01 report. The guy found a few hairs by his tent, also with that rock. He described it as it being reddish. So the reddish creature running from the field down into the forested area, which led into forest and a Christmas tree field. The creatures seemed to be startled because at the time we were harvesting the neighboring field 200 yards away. The terrain was a grass seed field, and on the top of the hill, that was forest and brush. The creature had thin red hair that was approximately 4 inches long over its body. It had very muscular long arms, which resembled an ape's. This creature seemed to use its arms to brace itself down to steep hillside. Interesting. We notified family and friends. And there's some GPS coordinates, looks like there. And Monday, October 27th, 2003, 5:27 p.m. Wow. All right. Let's check out this other Marion County Bigfoot report. So Marion County, funny, I didn't read none of the BFRO ones. We'll be coming back, Marion County. Don't worry. I see there's plenty here to read. How's the chat doing? All right, November 1996. Check that out. Around the same time, 5 p.m. Nearest town, Silverton, on the outskirts of the Cascades. Small logging roads and Mountain Creek, heavy forest area, steep hillsides, in areas with some open spaces due to logging. About 35 miles southeast from Silverton. I was out hunting with my dad, and he had put me on a post. I had been there for about an hour and a half or 1.5 hours when I saw what I thought to be a deer. It turned out to be an elk. Nice. After about 2 minutes, the elk took off fast. Was it really an elk? Or was it a not deer that turned into an elk? And then that elk turned into a you know what? You never know. We've heard of that out of Oregon. Elk turning into Sasquatch. Fascinating. I then heard faint footsteps off in the distance. And yeah, we could do that. Let's see. Where are you? Damn it. We do have footsteps, folks. Couldn't cue it up fast enough. All right. So about 2 minutes, the elk took off fast. I then heard faint footsteps off in the distance. The footsteps were not loud. I was watching to see what it was, thinking it was another hunter. That's when I think I saw a Bigfoot. Mm. This animal looked to be at least 8 feet tall. I never saw any legs because of the bushes in the way, but I did see one arm. The arm looked like they could be three-fourths the length of the animal. I went back to the same area 2 days later and saw what looked like just the front half of a footprint. It was a shallow footprint. I went back to the I went back that afternoon to take a mold of it. So people wouldn't think I was nuts, of course. But the print was gone. Bummer. I still don't know what I saw, but I know it was nothing I had seen before or since. The description of the creature, it was dark brown, maybe lighter, about 8 feet tall, long arm. I would guess about three-fourths length of the animal. It was moving. It was a fast-moving animal. I notified a friend and so-called Bigfoot investigator named, uh, is it Ines? About a year ago. He said he was a teacher at Mount Angel, small town next to Silverton School. He claims that he has heard Bigfoot in the same area. So interesting. Report filed with Bobby Short, Monday, August 20th, 2001. You could see the hours there. Right on. So Marion County, Oregon, putting it down. Yeah. Something about Oregon. Uh-oh. Let's see here. We got the train going by. And I was going to pull up our more AI based, yeah, based database over here. Let's see. And I was just going to read off some, or at least show you that there is more reports from this Marion County. Where are you? Let's see. There you are. Bigfoot report database. There it is. We're gonna pop that like that. And let's see here. So Marion County. So this is what it pulled up. It says Ed's Bigfoot encounter, vocalizations and sightings in Oregon's Malala River corridor. School teacher. I wonder if that's our teacher there. Yeah, check it out. School teacher encounters female Bigfoot near Silverton, Oregon, staring and climbing hill. And I'll just briefly read the beginning of it here. It says in 1996, a school teacher from Silverton area of Oregon reported a close encounter with a female Sasquatch while celebrating his daughter's sweet 16th birthday. The family was engaging in target shooting in the Silverton Hills when the incident, and I would imagine, says occurred there. So very interesting. Retired wildlife biologist discusses evidence and observations of Bigfoot in Oregon. I wonder who that was. It says Jim, a retired wildlife biologist. Okay. Oh no, Mr. Bendover's encounter with Bigfoot in Salem. I don't know if I want to get into that one. Shadowy figure and mental photo. I don't know. Witness encounters Bigfoot dancing to music at Detroit Lake. Yeah, that was it was maybe a Sasquatch. What do you think? I think Bigfoot dance. They got to dance. They feeling good, feeling the right tunes. Native drum circles. I would imagine. Investigation of possible Bigfoot activity in Marion County involving screams and tree structures. Nice. Child witnesses strange noises and nightmares associated with possible Bigfoot encounter in Aurora, Oregon. Father and son witnessed Bigfoot leap across road in Hubbard. That was in 1978. I like the father and son ones. Here's another one. Father and son. Oh, yeah, we just read that. Ben's here, all right. Ben's Sasquatch sighting in Coast Range, Oregon. Okay, that's more towards the coast. Right on. So several more out of Marion there. And now let's go chop it up in the chat. Saw a tall ass deer. What is Wild Man saying? Let's see. Saw a tall ass deer coming my way in the dark. The second I reached for my camera in the car, the deer hid behind a car. When I raised my camera to film it, it took off fast as if it thought it was a gun. Yeah. Yeah, we would imagine that we talked about recently how Stacy Brown mentioned about his favorite weapon being a flashlight. I talked about a camera also could work like that. I think like a flashlight um for that. Well, and then you got to be careful because then yeah, like you're saying they could mistake that for a weapon and then that could escalate things. But for the most part, since they stay away from cameras, right? You would think pointing a camera would probably be a good idea, especially if you're in really deep danger. Be like, oh, I'll take a picture of you. I'll get a video and threaten them with a video. Let's see what Georgian says. I thought my, nope, I won't be reading that. Yep. So let's see. It says two here. So we just got two people in chat. Did everyone else knock out? Rich shot. We got a ATM up in the shop now, bro. Just letting you know. Just in case you need to drop by, pull out some cash. And the power has been restored at the shop, folks. Finally. Yes, it is back. Hopefully, I'm not fizzing out too much here. And yeah, so let's check out those wildlife reports. I think we should have a look at that. Or unless you guys want to get into a quick. So look, I was mentioning Jeff, our buddy Jeff shared this website with us, and it's got all. So I don't think it has Bigfoot reports. I think it has all other cryptids, which is kind of funny. Um if I could, I know it's here. Why are you hiding? Let's see, we could pull it up. There it is. So our buddy Jeff shared this database with us. And so I got it aimed right here at SoCal. And so Wildman, if you're in here, you might be interested. I don't know if you've seen this already. But I focus on Bigfoot reports, Sasquatch. But we do get into other weird stuff. We get into little people, the giants and aliens. We get into it all. But most channels are really focused on, a lot of channels, I want to say, should I say, are focused really on the Dogman stuff, which is, it's fascinating. But yeah, you got a lot here on, seems like Los Angeles County. This is what, San Diego County. Looks like Oceanside down here. But yeah, let's click. So I did click on a few of these, and it says here. So the title says Doberman Links, and it says Rustic Canyon Park, Santa Monica. So that's interesting. Um, but then it has links. Well, I don't know if links, but it's like referring to Linda Godfrey's book, which is super cool. Rest in peace, Linda. Uh, True Encounters in Modern America. So I don't know if that book has maybe reports out of here. I don't know. Has anyone read that? And this, look, another one. It says 1988 Mount Wilson Toll Road. Yeah, we talked about Mount Wilson quite a bit. Wildman, yes. We talked about the towers up there and what might be under the towers, and we've done a exploration of the observatory up there. We've talked about some missing persons cases from up there, some Bigfoot reports from the foothills of that area in the Pasadena area. But this is some sort of, I would imagine, Dogman, because it's also referring to Linda Godfrey's book there. So a little confused on what's up with that. And this one, look, of course, Long Beach gonna have some dog. Got the dog pound out there, bro. Of course, you're gonna get some Dogman reports out in Long Beach. But look, this is a pretty long one here. Maybe we'll save this one since we've done quite a bit of reading tonight. Let's click these other ones really quick. So yeah, there is some stuff here. This one's at a Laguna Beach. What do you think? Laguna Beach, should we do it? Let's go. It says November 4th. They're interesting dates to me. Anything in November. 2009, 11:30 p.m. It says pack of dogmen chase car. State Route 133, Laguna Beach, California. Witness Rich. And he's an adult. And it says my sighting took place around 11:30 p.m. on November 4th, 2009. I work for the local 73 toll road in Newport Beach, California. And lately we've had some construction on the surrounding roads for the past few months. I'm a third shift manager, 2 p.m. through 11 p.m. And every night driving home, I take the exact same route at pretty much the same time every night. On this night, I was coming off the exit for the 133 road connector. And I'll never forget what I saw. While stopped at the stoplight, I saw a group of three large four legged creatures dash out from the trees along the road. I stared or I started, hold on. Yeah, I started second guessing myself. I was second my guessing myself there. Hold on. And tried to convince myself I was seeing things. I made a left turn at the light, and while the speed limit was still 40 at this part, I looked up and almost peed my pants. Those three beasts were running upright. The wolves, which seemed to be the most logical guess, were about 6.5 or 6'5" tall and looked like they easily weighed 250 to 275 pounds each. So 250 to 275 pounds each. Whoa. They had snouts and mouths that almost could be expressive, being able to smile, frown, and the fur was dark, although there wasn't enough light to tell if it was dark brown or black. My car being a six cylinder, it could get going if need be. I was going 45 miles an hour, and the giant wolves were keeping up. Again, hearing about creatures keeping up with vehicles. There's that Colorado, it's a Bigfoot video. And if it's real, I don't know. But it's a chick. And I think, I don't know, it seemed like she had hit the subject. And then she was, I don't know if she was backing away or going from, she was checking out her rear view mirror. She was driving away, checking out her rear view mirror. And this thing gets up and starts coming at her with their arms waving and everything. It was pretty freaky. She had a gun it. I remember that one. All right, let's try to find our place here. It says so he car being six cylinder, it could get out of there if need be. I was going 45 and the giant wolves were keeping up with ease. I then literally put the pedal to the metal and sped up to 70. I was sweating profusely and having a panic attack. As I sped up to 70, the wolves stopped following me. Considering I was about to enter a high traffic part of the road, the wolf in the or the wolf in front seemed to stop on a dime and watch me drive off. I did not hear any howls before or after the sighting. I proceeded to head home ASAP. I told my girlfriend what I saw, and she deemed my imagination was running wild. Yeah, they never believe us, huh? I also told my coworkers the next day following the sighting, but no one believes me to this day. I know I'm not crazy, and I know what I saw. I still have been taking the same route home every night and have not run into anything since that night of the sighting. Who knows what they actually were? But all I know is I don't want to run into them again. Whoa. That was a good one. Pretty good, bro. Not bad. Got me got me excited. I want to go to Laguna Beach. So I know Laguna Beach. Some of the people I used to go sky watching with. It's been a while. I gotta go hit them up again. You know the sky watchers, Wild Man. Wild Man in the chat knows exactly who I'm talking about. It's the it's like the LA. There's two groups. There's one out of Orange County that I've gone with, and an LA group. But the Orange County one, they go to one of their spots is Laguna Beach, and I haven't gone there with them, but I hear they get action out there. But, I have gone to Black Star Canyon with them, and Black Star Canyon has gotten, Bigfoot reports, UFOs, paranormal stuff, and it wouldn't surprise me if there's some Dogman reports out of there. Would not surprise me. But yeah, a lot of high strangeness. What is it? The Cleveland National Forest and some other locations come up there. There's an observatory up that way. What is it? The San Jacinto Mountains, is it? Um, and then yeah, there's just some areas there that are off to the public, and there's been some suspicions that maybe that's where a lot of these cryptids may be hanging out since can't be bothered in that area. All right. Cool. Well, first time we do, I think this is the first time we do a Dogman report. Is it? Maybe. Yeah, LA UFO meetup. What up? You know what's up? Cleveland Forest has its or is infested. I always heard. Wow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just had learned more about it after going there with the Skywatch group and everything, and then I've found out a lot more about it online, a lot more stories and stuff, and I'm just like, yep, there's something there. And I do have some video. I pulled some video where there was some possible orb anomalies popping up there, more like the paranormally type orbs, the little see through, you know, and that was there. So yeah, and then stuff I've heard from other people, like people that have gone there, a lot of weird stuff. Just the name Black Star Canyon, and then there's the whole story. What up, hillbilly? Cheers to you, brother. Finally got some fuego, bro. I got some fire. I don't even know what it is. Some sort of OG variant. Uh Very well done. So I'm happy about that. But no, there's some other things that just wasn't that top shelf. But now I'm back on hillbilly's level. We're level headed now, hillbilly. Let's see, Minxie. What up, Minxie? I didn't know you were in here. Eli with STM. Yes, he does, and he's covered Southern California, and I've uh put out a lot. There's been a lot of times where I'll refer to his documentaries, so much so that I stopped. Yeah, I stopped. And actually, Tate Hieronymus, there was a couple times we were supposed to link up with it. Things have never worked out, never gotten to meet him in the field or go out with him. But I know he's buddies with Tate and I think a few other people. But anyway, but yeah, I'd like, much respect and super cool that he's covered all those STM docs on SoCal and what was the last one he dropped? I think it was some Goatman stuff. Yes, Minxie. Yeah, I even stopped saying that whole thing. I'm just like STM now. I sometimes I'll talk because I know we've gotten new subscribers. Maybe some people don't know what we're talking about when we're using certain uh, terms and stuff like that. So sometimes I'll break it down, and then sometimes I won't. Let's see. Yeah, STM covered San Diego pretty good. Yep. Yeah, I thought that was awesome. What else is going on? Let's see. Oh yeah, let's get into this wildlife stuff. So yeah, it's been, San Francisco's San Francisco. So there's always some wild stuff going on. And I respect San Francisco. I love it up there. We used to come off the hills of Humboldt County to sometimes get some city vibes. Yeah, we'd drive all the way down there. Others would too. Get off the hill, go to the city. And the other day we were touching on this report. So I wanted to actually see this for myself because they said a coyote swam from the mainland over to Alcatraz. Oh man, I think I've never been onto Alcatraz, but I remember one time my brother had a taekwondo tournament in San Francisco. So we took the bus, Pops, my brother and I, which is a cool trip. I was being a brat. Sorry, Pops. Uh, but we had fun. And yeah, we got to take a little cruise around Alcatraz, but didn't get to go on. Would love to check it out. Paranormal stuff, huh? What else? And then is Alcatraz some sort of old world structure as well? There's a lot going on in that San Francisco Bay Area as far as old world. But let's see what this report says here about this coyote. We've been talking about the coyote issue here locally. Even in our neighborhood, we have our local coyotes, and some of you are familiar with them. We've shown quite a few videos. I've tested out my thermal and night vision on them, and they're still around. They've been keeping low key, but they're around for sure. And but we've been checking out other articles and news out here locally as well. There was one guy who showed a video. It was like 40 coyotes on one street. Another one here in Glendale, coyote running inside of apartment buildings. We've seen videos of them downtown in front of some of these beautiful old world buildings. And now we're going to head up north a bit and see what's popping up in the bay.
It's one of those stories that if we just told you the headline, you probably would not believe us.
Right. Yeah. And that's why I'm showing it, because we brought this up and I couldn't. Yeah. Got to see it to believe it. Let's see it.
And the focus is Mother Nature, who we know is capable of some pretty interesting things. A coyote decided to take a swim to Alcatraz, of all places.
Really
now,
starting
seeing
to believe
coyotes
it.
in San Francisco, while it might feel a little jolting or jarring when it happens, it's pretty normal. They are all over town. This coyote was watching runners in Golden Gate Park, pretty much unfazed, just hanging out. And maybe a less likely place downtown. They have coyotes too. This one was walking around the financial district. But this is way, way weirder. This video of the coyotes swimming to Alcatraz is
Financial district. You see, I'm telling you, they're downtown. They're all around. They're in the waters. They're in the sewers.
going viral. And why wouldn't it? It's apparently the first time anyone's actually documented a coyote making its way to the rock. Our Amanda Harry heard from an expert about why it might have happened.
And we have people who
Video of a lone coyote swimming in the bay, its head bobbling above the water as it makes its way to Alcatraz Island.
astonished, of course.
A friend sent Janet Kessler the video. She's a self-taught naturalist who has been documenting coyote behavior in San Francisco for about 20 years. In that time, she's never seen a video like this one.
So Wildman mentioned that something about coyotes and shapeshifters, and then I've been hearing, and also through Wildman and other people and other sources, that like, yeah, packs of coyotes and possible Dogman being around, or and then yeah. So this makes me think too of the cat that we're gonna check out here in a bit that was also running around San Francisco, and I was thinking to myself, what if that cat was a damn shapeshifter? And that's why it's in the middle of the city.
He crawls out of the water and struggles to get his footing once on the rocks.
He can barely make it. He is depleted. He is shivering. He is cold.
Coyotes can be found on nearby Angel Island. This is a video from August of one swimming around the island.
Yeah.
But this is the first time one has been documented on Alcatraz. The coyote likely swam over a mile to get there. Kessler believes the animal may have felt interspecies population pressure in the city, and it needed to find new territory.
This one probably was pushed around by other territorial owners and decided that he could make this trip.
Said, I'm going to the
So
rock.
he attempted it and he made it.
It's still unknown if he survived the first night on the island, but she thinks he had the resources to do so.
There are banana slugs, there are rats, there are mice, there are birds. There's plenty for him to eat. And although there's no running water, there has been a lot of rain, and so there are big puddles lying around. So in that sense, he would be able to make it.
A man who works on Alcatraz shared the video on Facebook. He says it was given to him by a tourist. Kessler believes they did the right thing by keeping their distance.
Leave the coyote alone, because this is it doing what it does best.
After 2 decades studying the species,
decent
Kessler
code.
has learned they can adapt to many environments. Some have lived in San Francisco for generations, and this one could potentially adapt to Alcatraz.
But they are survivalists and ready to push their envelopes.
Said, I'm locking
and that's
myself
why
up.
they continue to expand.
All right, we'll let you know.
I'm going to Alcatraz. Like, F Frisco. I'm out of here. Catch me on the rock, baby. Wow, that was crazy. Okay, so we're going to go for a little more wildlife action in San Francisco. Heads up, folks. You never know We'll give them a thumbs up too. I forgot to give that last video. I'll be sure to click that thumbs up. And that was ABC 7 News also, I believe, Bay Area. So here we go. And don't forget that you could switch the settings. This one goes up to 720. And let's put some volume to that. And then we'll pop this baby up like that. Here we go.
Breaking news within the last 45 minutes. The mountain lion spotted roaming the streets of San Francisco has been found.
Oh, yeah. So hold up.
Breaking news.
So the big cat was first spotted Sunday night near Lafayette Park, and then it was seen again last night. Animal control is at Octavia in California. It's very close to the park, as you can see there. ABC 7 News reporter Gloria Rodriguez is live at that location. Gloria, what's the latest?
That's wild, bro.
You know, it's been quite an adventure this morning, Amanda, because we got word that they potentially found the mountain lion.
So Wildman just said there's a Bigfoot report out of, did you say Angel Island there?
And so our photographer, Stefan Sifter, and I were driving around. We saw all of this activity, and check this out behind us. This is on California between Laguna and Octavia. You could see animal control is out here, as well as San Francisco police. And if you look there where that black fence is, they think the mountain lion is behind that fence. It's kind of in between two apartment buildings. Looks almost like a little garden or courtyard area in between the buildings. And so I talked to somebody from San Francisco Animal Care and Control who tells me they think the mountain lion is hunkered down back there. And so they are trying to right now kind of plan the next steps to try to get it out so that people obviously are safe. But the San Francisco Department of Emergency Management had posted yesterday and this morning about the sightings of this mountain lion. It had been seen at least 2 times, potentially.
This one, I don't know if this report has it, but I seen one where this lady said that they her and the cat had this soul gazing moment for 5 minutes. And yeah, I was like, soul gazing. That, and she was at the end, I think she was like, yeah, and I was just happy it didn't eat me. I was like, all right, come on, camera, activate for us. Or you want to take a break? That's fine.
More in this area here in Pacific Heights, and they were all the sightings were near Lafayette Park, and that's not far from where we are right now.
That's
so
mountain
lion has kind of stayed in this area in Pacific Heights, and so we know that obviously officials were worried about people's safety, so now they have actually blocked off a huge portion of this block where we are, and just in the last 5 minutes or so they actually closed down a portion of California where we are between Octavia and Laguna. So they have police cars that are stationed at each side of the street. So right now, that's why I'm able to stand on the street. They've blocked off this portion of the street, and they're not letting people get through this area. They've also taped off a portion of the road behind me between the 2 apartment buildings where they think that mountain lion is. And our photographer, Stefan, is panning over so you could see where they've blocked off the street. That's where one of the police cruisers is. And it may be hard to see from our vantage point, but there is crime tape that's up there. And earlier when we first got here, we were actually right outside the fence before all of the activity really started.
This is a crime scene, folks.
And then they said, you know, please move back because obviously there's a mountain lion there. So we want to remain safe. But they have taped off a huge portion of that area. We've also seen people who are maybe working out, they're returning home, and they're having to get escorted to go back into their buildings. So we're going to stay out here throughout the morning, see what happens next with this mountain lion. But again, they think the mountain lion is behind that fence. And right now there's a lot of presence from animal control and San Francisco police. So we'll stay out here. We'll bring you the very latest. Live in San Francisco, Gloria Rodriguez, ABC 7 News.
Breaking news.
Woo. All right. Yeah, well, wild man, you know what? I believe you, brother. There's something there, but yeah, for 5 minutes, that's a long time, bro. You know, so there was something going on there. Interesting. And if you want, I could pull that report back up and post it, and I'll tag you on it if you want to check that out. Yeah, wild stuff. There was also one other, and maybe we'll pull this one next time. But there was a recent. Did anyone see the baby mountain lion. I believe it was hit. I seen it pop up in my feed, but I didn't check it out. But my brother did, and he was kind of briefly telling me about it. And I think he was saying something about the little cub may have, or kitten may have gotten hit, but it was alive. And so yeah, hopefully it's getting all the proper treatment it needs. And yeah, so we'll get an update on that. Let's see. Cool. Right on, bro. I'll definitely do that. And again, thank you, bro, for coming through and hanging out, and everybody else as well. I don't know if anyone else is in here. I think it just might be you and I. Wow, man. Uh oh, and Georgian's in here. I don't know. Are you doing all right, Georgian? Georgian gets into it sometimes. Watch out, folks. I never know what he's thinking, but yeah, what else we got going on? Let's see. So on the next one, I talked about, I had a bunch of South American reports I wanted to pull up, wild man Bigfoot type reports, the Mapinguari, and I got them ready to go, but we'll set that up for the next time we go live. I think the Oregon trip was pretty cool, so we'll leave it at that. And oh yeah, let's see. Let's try this. Maybe Georgian will jump on here or something. See, who knows? This one footprint thing has been observed by a variety of people. You guys are talking about just like the one big footprint that people report a lot. That is pretty weird. And people have their theories, like maybe they backpedaled or jumped into a tree or jumped off to something else. And that's why they just leave one print. Some people believe that if this is what we're talking about, that maybe they're just stepping into our dimension in 1 foot right quick. 1 foot in this one, 1 foot in that one. And I'm sure there's some other theories as well. Boom, let's see. Bam. There it is. There's a link. Anybody want to jump on here? Hang out for a little bit. But I think I got through most of the reports I wanted to touch on for today. So that's cool. Thank goodness. JC Johnson talked about it. Yeah. RIP JC Johnson. And yeah, one of my favorite investigators. He was definitely out there and just so many, like when I would hear stuff from him, I would believe it. And then not everything, but if I were gonna hear something weird and pay attention, JC was one of those cats. I can't hear just anything from anyone, but hearing certain things from JC, I'm just like, oh yeah, there's got to be something to this. And big up Four Corners. It's I'm always good, yeah, and you should know me by now. Questioning things, yeah, Georgian. You've been hiding on us. And I just threw the link out there just in case. Maybe someone will jump in. And if not, it's all good. I just don't want to feel bad later, be like, oh man, I forgot to share the link. Maybe someone wanted to jump on. See, Kreider was down with right on. And Kreider just posted some vocalizations yesterday. I think I peeped out. There's a couple videos he just posted. So I'll be rechecking those out. And yeah. Let me double check here. Let's see. Is there anything else for tonight? So let's do. Yeah, we could give you a little taste of what we're going to be doing next. Let's see. So I want to pull this one up. So we'll be heading to South America next. So anyone got any South American reports you want to touch on? Maybe save them, bring them through for the next stream. But we're going to be getting into stuff like this. So this is Patagonian Monsters. And this one's actually the Savage Man of Venezuela. And no, it's not Maduro. It's not a case. It's not Maduro's case. All right. It's not. No. So it's some other savage man from Venezuela. Anyway, so yeah, no, it sounds really good. And I did do a little brief scannage on it. And look, it even mentioned Humboldt. Yep. He makes an appearance. I think they missed a T there. There might be a typo here. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to be going to South America and then to a particular region. I think we're going to focus on Venezuela. There's several reports there. I talked about there's definitely a lot of reports over in the Andes. And actually what is the Patagonia? Ooh. Patagonia, the Andes, of course. And the Andes go from parts of the Andes go all the way up to Venezuela. So definitely some mountains there. And what else do we have here? Yeah, which is also going to lead us into some weird little furry creatures. And I think we touched on this case before, which also has ties to the what is it? The Hopkinsville goblins. Yeah. So we'll bring that up. And yeah, I just want to thank you all again for coming through, hanging out, listen to me read these reports. Hopefully you learned a little something, took a little notes. That T-shaped door in Peru, Amaru something. Bigfoot Fades, there you are. And Wildman, do you know Bigfoot? Hopefully you know Bigfoot Fades yet. That's the homie Wildman, if not. And he's a good guy, very knowledgeable. Can get a little gassy sometimes, but hey, we love him. And of course, much love to you, Cave Goblins. Yeah, no, you haven't heard of the Kentucky, what is it? The hot goblins, the Kentucky yeah, Hopkinsville goblins, the hot goblins. And so there's some similar creatures also reported about a year before the Hopkinsville case in Caracas, Venezuela. Yeah, shake your baracas in Caracas. So yeah, we'll do that. We'll get into that. And Bigfoot Fades, if you're just getting in, we did several. We're up in Marion County, Oregon, reading off some reports from there. Feel free to dip back into the stream if you want to hear that. But I mentioned you're our Oregon plug, so you probably already know about these reports. Anyway, super cool interview yesterday, and keep up the great work. Good job on everything you're doing, and all of y'all doing great work out there. I enjoyed that can kick post, Wildman. Thank you. Yeah, definitely love your vibe, bro. We're right there. Everything you play and stuff, I'm like, yep, taking me back and bringing it back, and that feeling and that vibe. I love it, bro. So thank you for sharing. Frozen Hopkins goblins this week, says Minxie. Oh no, yeah, that's not good. Yeah, thank you, thank y'all for being. All right, so we're gonna head up at it this piece. Y'all have a blessed night, and we'll try to hit our outro. Yeah, can kick. Yeah, y'all check out Wildman. He has a channel. And if you don't know what we're talking about a producer, and he's 805 also, right? He's from the 805. Wildman. Can kick. And he used to run with Madlib, and I'm sure Wildman could share some other producers they used to run with. Night, y'all. Declaim and all them. All right, we're gonna look for our outro, and hopefully it works. Let's see. Oop. Where you at, outro? Here we go. One love, y'all.